And hello everyone. Okay. Just setting up the stream. Okay. Hey Micah, how you doing? Hello Orange Mechanic. Hello Dams. Hello. Just waiting for a few people to tune in. Hey Joyce. Oh, it's so weird being on the other side of the chat. Hey Mael. Hey Giovanni. Giovanni, by the way, I've seen you dropped a video on how to recreate the side menu, and it looks awesome. I haven't had the time to look at it, but it looks great. Okay, I think we can get started slowly. So hello everyone, my name is JP, I'm from WeWeb, and my role, for those who don't know, my role will be to showcase everything, maybe not everything, but what we can do inside of WeWeb, and it will be through build guides. There's a new one that we've updated with the CRM templates, and also we'll be doing some other tutorials on mostly on YouTube, and also so that will be the first part of my job, and the second part also will be to try to emulate the community, talk to people, see where they struggle with inside of WeWeb, and also what the amazing thing they can build, so and show everyone what we can do with WeWeb. And am I blurry? Maybe it's my connection, I'm not sure. Well, anyway, if I'm blurry, I will shrink my camera down anyway in a few moments to share my screen. I guess I should get like a cable connection to get a better quality. And yeah, so today what I wanted to do was, well, first of all, we just released 3 new videos about CSS animation and how you can do those animations inside of WeWeb without all within the editor and without using any custom code. And so we released the 3 courses. Let me drop the link. So this is the link. Is it lagging? Maybe if I just go here, I'm not sure if it would be much better. And then yeah, so we dropped a few mini courses around animations, and today what I wanted to do was to continue talking about animation, and I found this library of loaders. So some of them we can recreate using CSS animation. So we're going to do that. Some of them are a bit harder to do, but yeah, we tried our best to recreate some of them. Thank you, Vikrant. And Giovanni is saying, I don't understand English very well, but I see subtitle later and tend to create several WeWeb tutorials to help the Brazilian community and show the possibilities that WeWeb allows. That's great. That's really awesome. I'm really excited to see what others videos you do next. So I've got I've got a new project here, and we're going to start with some animation. So which one should we pick? Maybe we can start with a simple one, and then we'll continue with more difficult ones. Let's see. I guess this one looks nice. Oops. So inside of WeWeb, you also have a pre-made component, a loader one that already has a bunch of animation, you can see. And but the goal is today would be to use this animation section here at the bottom and try to recreate some of those animation. Because let me zoom in a bit. If you go to the loader property, you can see that we have a bunch of options. Some of them, I guess, look pretty similar to what we have inside of the library that we found. But the goal here is to just play around with the CSS animation and see what we can do with it. Okay, so let me just grab a screenshot. I'm going to put it there so that I don't have to switch between tabs. And then, okay, so if we look at this animation, we can see that we have 4 bars, and I guess, yeah, that's 4. And so what we can do if we look at this, we actually just need to create one first, and then we'll just duplicate the rest. So first we need a wrapper to hold all of those divs. And by the way, do not hesitate if you have any question about either CSS animations in WeWeb or any other topics. Okay, so this one will be, let's call it animation 1. And inside of that animation 1, we are going to drag and drop another div. Let's call this one bar 1. And if we look at this one, we can see that it has a fixed width. So we can try something like 8 pixels. Let's add a bit of colors to it. We can go for a dark blue. And notice that when you are inside of the editor here, we have these placeholders, dotted rectangles, and I think it's a bit annoying to work with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag a div inside of my bar, and this div will be hidden. I'm just going to make the conditional rendering to off, so that, oh, when did it disappear? Because it has no height, and we're going to give it a height so that we have something. And I guess maybe I can just make the whole thing bigger so that everyone can see what I'm doing. Okay, I think we have the structure. I guess on the animation one, what we'll be doing, let me just duplicate those four and make it horizontal, and we're going to add some column gap. Let's try 8. So we're beginning to see some resemblance here, and now I guess we can just try and add some CSS animation. Hey Bebex. Okay, on the animation here at the bottom, we have the CSS animation section. And first on the duration, let's try something. I guess it was something pretty fast. So let's try 600 milliseconds for now. And I guess we'll just leave everything as the same. And if we open the keyframe editor, we have this new panel at the bottom that basically represents the timeline of our animation. So what's great is that it comes with two markers at the beginning and the end of the timeline. So those represent the default state and the end state of the animation. You can have that in percentage, or you can have that in time to if you have something very specific in mind. But in our case, we'll just leave it in percentages. And also on the panel at the bottom, you have this little button keyframes, and this button allows you to, if I move this, allows you to visualize the animation like you would be coded in, like you would be coded. So this is just another representation of everything that we are going to do on the right. For now, we have made no changes to the to either of the states. So it's just 0% and 100% with empty properties. And we're going to see just later when we add some properties, then it will make there will be properties that will be added. Yeah, I'm trying to zoom in a bit. Let me know if it's better. I think this will be the max, and I think I can go much bigger here. And so what we want, if we look back on our animation, we just want this line here to go small and bigger, and then loop in that animation. So let's try to do that. If we look at the translate property here, we have, is it, no, sorry, it's the scale property. When you open that, you have 3 units. You have the x-axis, the y-axis, and the z-axis. And what we want to do, what we want to change, will be the y-axis, so on the vertical. And great, good. And if I try anything, nothing is happening. Why? Oh, it is happening. I think it's just on the preview mode that you can see something. Let me try again. I thought it was I thought we could see it inside of the editor also. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not sure if I'm missing something. I thought we would be able to see the modification live, and actually like the last few days I was working on this, and I had no issue. Maybe I'm missing something. Anyway. But if we tried what we had here, we can see that it almost looks almost nice. If we look back at our animation here, yeah, I think it's pretty nice. Maybe we can make the modification a bit bigger. So let me go back, and the scale we can go down to 0.2. And what we need to do now will be to alternate the animation so that if we play this, it goes back and forth each time. Because if this alternate is off, what it will do that at the end it will go back to 0%, making this weird behavior that is not what we want on our animation. But if we alternate the animation, then it's looking great. And should we add a bit of transition? Maybe just an ease in. Or maybe not. I think ease looks a bit better. And I guess that's pretty much what we wanted. What we can do with that is to duplicate. We can either duplicate this animation or this component, or we can just we have this copy animation button on the animation section, and we can copy that. And if I multi-select all of my elements and hit paste, yeah, it should be working. And if I hit preview, we have all of our GIFs that have this animation. And the thing is, we can see that on this animation, on the read animation, we have this kind of delay, or not every bar is moving at the same time. So what we can do is we can add a bit of delay, and I'm not sure what the calculation would be actually. Oh, sorry, that was not the right one. Let's try to delay it by 200 on this one, and 400 and 600. I'm actually not sure what this is going to do. Okay, it's working, but at the beginning it's a bit weird, because at the initial state, the initial state is this one. So with the delay, it's just waiting. It's waiting before going full. It's waiting before the animation is launching. So that's why there is this little red thing at the beginning. And I'm trying to think if we can easily do something about it. But first, let me resize this bar. Let's make it 10 pixels. Well, other than that, I think it's looking pretty good. And I think all of this animation, if we manage to make a lot of them, maybe we will put it inside of a template. I think it can be good to have this resource available to the community to see how everything was made. But we'll see if we can get far with this, or else I can maybe do it on my own, and I'll give you the template. Well, I guess we'll just leave it at that for now. and we go to another animation. Okay. Okay, which one should we pick? I guess maybe the zoomies can be fun to make. Okay, let's try this one. So let me hide this first one, and I'm going to create a new div. And if we look at this animation here, if we try to see the elements that is the elements that make this component, we can see that we have two elements. The first one behind will be with some opacity or something very dark, a very dark color, and on top of that we have this white line that is going through the element. I think that there are a few ways we can do that. I think there are a few ways to do that. We'll go with one and we'll see for the if it works, and we'll see. So animation 2. So this animation 2 will actually be the one with the background, the light background, and inside of that animation 2 we'll have a line. So on our animation 2 here, we can input a specific or fixed height. Let's try 12 pixels, or maybe I can do the same as before. I can make it a bit bigger so that everyone can see. And we will have fixed width 2. Oh, by the way, I'm very curious about what you think about the new inputs that we have. I really like them. I think it was released like yesterday or something. And on that element, we can have a background. We can bring the opacity down, and we can have a radius on that thing. Let's put 999 so it's round, and we have our line here. So if I just go back, I think, yeah, the line inside of the right line inside is actually 100% of the width of the parents. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to input 100%, and also the height would be 100%. Usually what you want to do is to, at best, use percentages if you can. So that way, if you have relative units, then it's much easier for relative units work on much more situation and more context. And it's also way easier when you try to do responsive elements. So our line here is on ways the line inside of our animation tool here will always fill its parents. So that's great. And what we want to do with the line is to give it a white background color. And I can't actually see anything because the background is also white. So what I can do is go to my settings, and inside of my app background, I can just darken it a bit. Okay. And sorry, you notice that I did add a border radius to my animation too, but we are seeing a square, and that's because my line here doesn't have any border radius. And while what I could do would be to add a radius here, but actually what I'm gonna do is just add an overflow hidden inside of my animation too, because that way the parent will control if we have a border radius. So we can put anything that we want inside of animation 2 and we will always keep those borders. So I think we are done with the layout. I can make it a bit bigger, I guess, a bit longer, and we can see that the line follows the dimension of the parent. So that's great. I don't need to make the changes here. And then I guess the next step would be to add some animation to it. So if we open the editor, we have default duration. That's nice. And then basically the same way as the animation one, we want to have a transform property. So the default state here, on the default state, what we can do would be to apply a translate. So the translate is basically to move your elements in a certain axis. In this case, it will be on the x axis. So what we want would be to make it move from minus 100%. And also, I don't know if you knew, but when you are inside of a unit input, if you hit the unit, for instance, here will be percentages, then it will automatically choose the unit that I want, and that's great. And at the end stage here, what I want is a translate 100%. And I noticed that actually we do need to add some border radius to our line, because when it's traveling, we can see the borders. So you can go ahead and add some. And if we go back to the line and play this, we can see that we have this nice animation. And let's try it on the preview mode, and we have the same animation loader. So this one can be used, for instance, when you are loading something, when you are uploading something, downloading something. I think it's great to use that. So inside of WeWeb, you have a bunch of elements, and you do have actually a simple and an advanced file upload component. I think I dropped it on the wrong. And this component allows you to drop files in it, and well, you do have a loader already in there, but potentially you can create your own loader and display your own, and you can add something like a line animation if you want. Okay, let me delete that. And what can we do next? I think on the animation here, the background was a bit harsh, so I'm going to bring that down. Okay. Just hold on a bit. I'll be back. Okay. like it's spam. I think we're done with our second animation here. I think the timing is right also. So I guess we can just go and pick a new animation to make. I think maybe we can just stop at 3, or we see. And also, by the way, if you want to have any specific subject covered inside of a live build, I think on the next ones, maybe I do like to make specific themed live. Like for the instance, this one is CSS animation. I think it's being more focused is easier to prepare. But I think on some live we will also be doing some food builds, like something like a marketplace or something like that, and it would be nice. But if you have any suggestions on what you would like to see on those live builds, please do tell me. So is it responsive? I mean, after loading, it's moving on our homepage. Not sure what you mean by I'm not sure what you mean by after loading, is it move on our homepage? But yeah, this element is responsive. Well, for now, what the dimension here is 400 pixels, but you can definitely make that percentages. For instance, 10%. So this would be 10% of the parent. So right now it's the section, so it's 10% of the section, and inside you have the line that is relative. The dimension is relative, so it follows the dimension, and then it is just it has the same ratio. But you can, depending on the container and context, you can just shape it the way that you want. Okay, that's okay for this one. And I guess for this line wobble, it will be the same as before. We just need to, on our animation, we can just hit the alternate button, and we have this back and forth. If we look at some other animation, like for instance this one, is it not showing? For some reason it's not showing. Okay, so this kind of animation are a bit harder to do in CSS animation. I think these kind of things would be more made with some, I guess, Lottie animation, and we can just import the animation that you do inside of the editor. That would be much simpler. But for some things that are I guess simpler things, we can do that in CSS, and it can be better for performances also, so we don't have to load anything else. Okay, should we try something a bit more difficult? Oh, maybe we can try this pulse animation. I really like those kind of things. And what should we do? I guess we can try the ripple effect. I can change the size here. And this one I covered on a video, and it was a pulse animation, the pulse animation video. But I think it's nice to replicate, and it will make us play with other properties than the transform. So let's dive in. Let's drag a new div. This one will be animation 3. And if we look at this animation, I think we can see maybe 3 or 4 divs inside. Each round will be a div, and they will have some kind of delay, and they will grow and they will fade in the background. And so let's try to replicate that. It's looking really nice. Let's call this pulse. So this pulse elements will have a position absolute, and the same as the line, we want the pulse animation to fill the container. So it'll be 100% and 100%. And you notice that the pulse has no dimension here. That's because on the parents wrapper we did not specify any dimension. So let's add 80 pixels here, and instead of imputing 80 pixels here, we can add a ratio, and a ratio of 1:1. So we just, if we want one day to change the dimension of that animation, we can just change one value, and since the ratio needs to be 1:1, then the height will be the same as the width. And inside of the pulse, what we want is a white round. So I'm going to add a background color, and this pulse here will have a border, a radius of 999, so that it always remain a round no matter the size. And I think we can just duplicate these, or maybe not. Let's duplicate them later. I'm going to add the animation and try to nail the growing and the fading out of this component first. So let's just open the editor. We keep it at 1 second. The transition, we can make it easing out, so that means it will begin slow and end slow, and at the middle will just accelerate. We don't need an iterate, and we need it to have an infinite iteration. And so the default state will remain the same. We want it to begin at this round, and at the end of the animation, what we want to do is to make it bigger. So we can make it way bigger with 2 maybe. And then, so if I try this, it does grow. And at the end, what we also want is to bring the opacity to 0. Playful Vibe is asking, is there any animation that is best for my marketplace app? I don't think so. I think the animation that you choose depends on first your branding, the branding of your application, and also the context. So there are some animation that are better suited for instance, file uploading. There are some animation that are more suited for something like an image that is loading, but I don't think there is any better animation. For cloth branding, well, I don't think there is all of these animation here are pretty standard. Like they can fit any brand mostly. I guess one thing you can ask yourself, like when you design something, when you design your logo, when you design icons and all, will be the shape. Like for instance, here you have a square shape and a round shape, and usually what you can go for is that when you have more round elements, then it's more friendly, and when you have something square, it's more serious. Just that's, I guess, the idea behind or the feeling behind um, the shapes. But honestly, there is not really any. And yeah, I wanted to say that if you want to go any like further with animation, right here we're just picking those regular shapes. But if you have something, a specific brand, you can play with this animation. You can have maybe you can play with the, like for clothing, you can have a shirt and you animate that shirt. Like maybe you can have it growing and shrinking, or bring the opacity down and or in a loop. For a car, you can have your car going from left to right when the page is loading. I think you can have a lot of fun with animation. It really adds a bit. It's not necessary to make your application work, but I think can bring a bit a nicer touch to the design and make it a bit more memorable. And can I make this with CSS or without coding? Yeah, on the what we are doing right now is, oh yeah, I haven't shown you what it looks like. So everything that we made here was with the interface. So we just changed the transform properties and all within the UI of WeWeb. And but basically, what's behind all of those modification is code. And if I look at the keyframes editor here, we can see that this definition or these lines of code will be exactly the same as a developer will do. So we have the 0% and brackets, 100% brackets, and all of the properties. So if you use this animation somewhere else on another application or another or coded animation, you will have the same results. And how would you create the rounded corners on something like the standard circle loaders? Oh, do you mean like something like that? I'm guessing. Yeah, I think this one would be a bit harder. I think this one would be, I would go with SVG, and having the shape of the SVG, having all the loader as an SVG, and with the CSS animation, just making that rotate. I think when you have more control over the SVG path, you can animate it, but you don't. I don't believe you have access to that inside of the WeWeb editor. So that's why I was saying that some of them are easy to replicate and some others are a bit harder. Yeah, there is SVG. Well, you have SVGs. I think this one is perfect with SVGs. But for some more complex animation, you also have the Lottie library. That is basically, I think, an engine or JavaScript engine that make all the animation for you, and just have to import it to your application. And there is also the Rive app. The Rive app is actually really powerful, and I think it applies more to applications, and you can also make games with it. But basically what you do is you define a bunch of animation, and what's more with this engine is that it can be interactive. So if you can define like states inside of your animation, and if you click on an element, it triggers something and you have a bunch of states, and it's really awesome. And I'd really like to have it inside of WeWeb to make like really cool components. And so let's go back to our pearls. So these pearls here, if we look at the animation, we have this going on, and that's a good start. I think I've lost my pearls. Oh, it's here. And what we want is, let's try and just duplicate this. And same as before, let's try to add a bit of delay. I'm not sure about the delay value here, but let's try this. Okay, let's go crazy and add a lot of them, and let's just see what it does. It's really fast, but actually looks like what we want to do. I think what we need is to bring first the duration needs to be a bit longer. We can bring this to 2 seconds. Yeah, definitely check Rive. I think it's more and more used, I think, and it's really really amazing. And yeah, I wanted to bring the rotate here, so let's try this. I want to change the scale here, and I'm going to do it right in the editor in a coded version, just trying to see if it's working or not. And I feel like it's working pretty well. Nice. I just need to, since the duration of my animation changed a bit, I need to update the delay. Maybe what I can do is to add a formula on this, so that I don't, or maybe it's a bit troublesome to do that. Nah, let's do it by hand. I think I just need to double my values. And I think it's looking pretty nice like this. So we have this ripple effect, this ripple animation, and I think it would look even better with a darker background. So let's bring that down. Oh, looking nice. And so this one, how would I use this? I'm not even sure how this kind of animation would be used. Well, it can be used as a loader inside of a file upload. But I think it would look nice also inside of a file input when you're trying to drop an element. Can we? Maybe we can just end on this, and I'm going to try something. Just bear with me. I'm just curious if you can just do that. So I'm going to add the advanced element. So when you drop the file advanced component, you have a variable files that will hold the uploaded file. And what I wanted to do was to check if on the file upload we had on mouse center. I'm not sure if it can actually work. What I wanted to do was to when you're trying to drop something in that, you have this animation playing. But I think it was a custom coded one that I had. That's why I remember that. But what we can do actually is to have a state on mouser, I guess. We're just going to delete this this workflow. And what we're going to try is on drop. I'm actually not sure what the drop is doing. I'm going to add a hover state on my file here, and I'm going to apply on children. And what we are going to do is that whenever we have our mouse over this element, we will have this pulse animation that is appearing. So I'm going to copy that and drop that inside of the animation 3. Is it a good one? Yep, it's the good one. Let me just get rid of everything else. Just for the sake of the demo, we don't need them, and I'm going to increase that to 300. So I'm going to give it another background color, something like that. Please bear with me. I know it's not very nice in terms of design, but we just do it like that. And what we want is that when on initial state, the animation 3 here needs to be hidden. So I'm going to go to the conditional rendering and hide the elements. But we're going to add a new state to that same element, and on the file upload here, when I added the hover state, I indicated that this state should be applied also to the children. So that's why we have the add file upload. So that was the parent element, and we can access the hover state of that element. So I'm going to add that, and when we are on that state, what we want is to display the pulse. So I'm going to first I'm going to hide this, and when we hover our mouse to it, then we have this nice animation, and so that nudge the user to drop or to click on that thing. Yeah, just wanted to see if was something possible, and we found a way to do it. And I think I will be doing other kind of interaction like this. I really like doing those kind of things. So we try to find other ways to do this. So yeah, we ended with 3 animation and a bonus interaction with this. I think we'll be stopping here for now. Yeah, it was a nice stream, I think, 1 hour long. So let me know, how was it hard to follow, or did I go too fast, or was it okay? I think on those kind of streams, what's nice is, what would be nicer would be to drop the mini courses like a few days before the stream, so that when people come to this stream, then they already has some kind of basis, or know what we can do with the specific feature. But it's okay, so do it like that. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure about the, maybe I think the next yeah, the next stream would be about components, because right now we are updating the courses on the academy. So we are focusing on a theme like every few, I guess, days. We are focusing on something specific in the academy. So I think maybe next week will be about components. Well, thank you for hanging out. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Bye.